as long as you are connecting with the community, I mean, just keep doing what you're doing, because there's always going to be haters. There's always going to be people who say, "Oh man, you know what I'm saying? There's no way that a rapper and a cop can be one." And I say, really, dude? I find that hard to believe because I'm doing it. So
I don't understand. I remember walking down the same aisles, getting married, now the tears flowing from the same smile. Yeah, I think about the times you treated me just like a king, and always said.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the It's Needed podcast, where we discuss real issues involving law enforcement in the community. It's your boy Ryan Tillman, founder of Breaking Barriers United, and I'm joined again by the light-skinned wonder himself, Mr. Oh No, it's the Popo. What up, AJ?
Yes, sir. Not much, brother. Hey, one episode we gotta switch it up, and I'm gonna do the intro, and then we gonna see how that work out. We just confuse
they call you the bass brother.
Let's do it right now. I want to hear it right now, bro. Right off the top, bro. Let's hear it, AJ. Let's hear it. Go ahead, open it up.
Oh, I don't got it. I'm not prepared.
No, you got to be able to do this, baby. Right off the top.
I gotta come with my own little like, yo, what's up, yo?
Hey, next episode.
Is Oz, and I'm here to say.
Hey, so you guys probably hear these guys rapping on here already. If you guys wonder, we do have another special guest this week. We have the fortune of having my man, Mr. Josh, aka the rapping cop. What's up, Josh?
What's going on, man? What's going on? You got the Saint, the rapping killer. Yeah. Everything
my bad.
No, you good.
No, I'm not good. So
you
Saint,
good, bro.
Hey, no.
Yeah, it's
if y'all can,
actually,
if our viewers can see Saint right now, when he looked at me right now, he was like, "Dog, did this dude just say Josh the rapping cop, dog? Like, my name is Saint the rapping cop."
I twitched a little bit.
Hey, he low key mad over there right now, but it's my bad.
I'm mad. Yo, I'm not Steven. I'm not.
What's going on, fellas, man? How you guys doing today?
Chilling. Same old blast, man. Always.
What's up with you, Ryan?
Oh, I'm chilling, man. We just got back from church. It was good, man. Church was always good. It was crazy because we actually went and visited our old church today. And so we had to put all of our kids in childcare, and we have childcare at the church that we usually go to. But like usually, like all of our kids at the church we usually go to are like in one centralized location. We haven't been to our old church in a while, bro. So when we went today, bro, like all of our kids are like all across the campus, dog. So church starts at like, I think it started at 10:45, bro. We didn't get seated, dog, till like 11:15. we walked in.
Oh man,
I'm chucking the deuces up to the pastor, like, "Yo, what up, pastor?" Sorry, dog.
I mean, you know,
you missed half the message.
Brother, you missed half the message. My wife gonna kill me. She was like, "You know how embarrassed I get when we late to church." So yeah, so I gotta make sure Billy edit that part out, man. She gonna be like, "Why you put all our business out there?" But no, things are good. Billy. Things are good, man. We it's clear skies, sunny skies out here. I think the weather right now is about 81 degrees. Nice and. Oh, actually 82. I take that back. It's 82 degrees.
It's 60 degrees.
Hey,
how is it outside?
why you gotta put your gun up now, bro?
Hey, it was just snowing here like an hour ago, man. You were here talking about it's sunny. Hey,
it really?
I'm not trying to hear that. It was, man. It was like just sprinkling snow.
I won't put that up.
I guess I'm in the middle of everything. I'm like 56 degrees right now, I think. So I'm kind of in the middle of everything. But I prefer the heat.
My watch say 33 right now. It is cold.
That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, so I want to give a shout out to my man Jorge. First of all, foremost, man, Jorge was on our podcast last week, and man, Jorge literally brought down the house, man. That dude's story was remarkable. And so we definitely going to have Jorge on again, man. Jorge got a lot of good feedback, man. And so that episode was fire. If you guys haven't listened to the last episode, man, please do check that out. It was a phenomenal episode. But again, without further ado, man, I want to again thank you for having Saint on the podcast today, man. Saint is doing some crazy work. So I actually first discovered Saint probably, I'm just going to keep calling you Saint because he got mad at me. He sent me a text message like, "You call me Josh one more time. You call me Josh one more time, we got some problems." So I'm just gonna call him Saint. But I actually discovered, I think somebody had DM'd me and was like, "Hey, dog, check out this dude's bars." And so I was looking at it, And I was like, dog, this dude got some bars. Like, my man is spitting. So I went on, I would start, being like a little Instagram, what do they call it? A little Instagram groupie. And I was like, dog, this dude got fire. It's like spitting fire. So then I sent this video over to AJ. I was like, hey, bro, he better than you. Not just like, hey, which speaking of that, I'll get to that later,
so I
man. Speaking of that, I got oh, bro, somebody tried to play your boy today on Instagram. But anyways, I digress.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tried to play me. So, but anyways, I saw Saint, man. I was like, man, this dude. But I think the best part about it, despite of set aside the fact that my man could have some bars and could spit, man, like, why he's doing it, the message about why he's doing it was right in line with what me and AJ are doing as far as bridging that gap between law enforcement and the community. And that's what, on top of that, and, my man is a believer in Jesus Christ as well. So those two things, man, it was like, man, I was like, I got to reach out to this dude. And so, Saint, man, I appreciate you for reaching back, man. It's a pleasure to have you on this episode, man. It's very good stuff. Man. So
it's my pleasure, man. It's my pleasure, man.
Excellent, man. So let's look. One thing we like to do is we like to get into current events real quick before we get started with the topic of today. One of the current events I want to discuss with you guys, man, is that video that's trending right now as far as that police officer that slapped the suicidal subject in the hospital bed. Like, so somebody, one of the things now, like, which is cool. So we've kind of established ourselves as an organization that people reach out to if there's a critical incident or a crisis that happens, because people want our opinion. And so when I first started Breaking Barriers United, I always said, man, I want to be an organization that when a critical incident happens, people come to us because they trust our opinion and they want to get our feedback on it. And so that's what's been happening a lot more than ever. And so somebody hit me up and was like, hey, man, what's your take on this video? So I looked at it, and man, that video was hard to watch, man. This dude, literally, if you guys haven't watched it, go on our Instagram page, because I posted it up, because I'm all about making sure we expose the bad officers. But you have an officer essentially that brought a suicidal subject into a hospital. And, was the guy probably talking bad about the officers? I don't know what the backstory is that much, but the officer clearly slaps this guy twice as the guy is detained on a gurney. So tell me what your guys' thoughts are before I elaborate on that.
My thing about that is, first off, there ain't no reason to smack nobody. You know what I mean? You're on duty. You're an authority figure. And what I always preach to people is, don't let this badge give you heart, right? Like this dude is handcuffed to a gurney and you smacking this dude. Like, if he wasn't handcuffed, if you was in an alley in a hoodie and sweatpants, would you have smacked him? Probably not. So don't be this tough guy police officer now that you got a badge on. Like, that's my biggest thing about like this job is you're given a lot of power and authority, and you can use that for good or you could use that for bad. And unfortunately, you have people who use that for bad, and that's a prime example of it. It
was terrible. What do you think, Saint?
I've actually not been able to watch the whole thing through yet. I still don't understand how or as to why. And then he put himself in it to recording the whole thing like it was cool or something like that. Then he probably posted it. The man probably posted it, thought he was going to get some accolades from it.
I guarantee you he sent it to his friends. I guarantee you he did.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. It got out some way.
And so the crazy part about it, man, is, not only does he smack this dude, but like he's gloating about it. And like AJ, going back to your point, AJ, it's like, so before, I haven't been able to do it in a long time because I got 3 kids, but I used to play a lot of Call of Duty, man. I used to be on there all the time. I was a guy, had the headphones on, be talking to people. And you get those guys, we call them online bangers, where, that's online, they calling you all types of N-words and this and that. You got kids across the country that just be on there just banging on everybody because they can, because in their mind they could get away with it. I'm not going to do anything to them. I can't. But internet the internet thugs. And so you get them in person and it would be a different story. So it's almost the same thing in our profession is, I had a good friend of mine tell me one time, my dad's best friend, he was like, hey, Ryan, the one thing before you get into law enforcement is you want to make sure that when you get into this profession, don't allow your badge to get this big. Don't allow your gun to get this big. Don't allow your head to get this big, because oftentimes the badge has a tendency to do that. And when it does that, you end up doing stuff like this officer that's smacking people on their bed. And then to make matters worse, it say you go back a few years or a year or whatever, and the dude was slinging dope from his police car.
Yeah, he wilding. He is
that same
wilding.
cop was?
Yeah.
That same cop was?
So what he was doing was
how did they figure that out?
I don't know how they figured it out, but they I guess there's allegations saying that he was taking drugs off of people. When he would do an investigation, they get drugs, and he would basically turn around and sling the same drugs that he was taking off of people. So again, you know, that guy is not a police officer. That's a criminal right there. Like, that's a straight criminal, a criminal with a badge. And like, that's what's so crazy about it. And so unfortunately, like, there's people that I meet in our profession that, you know, sometimes they don't believe that there is bad that occurs within our profession. And if they do, they don't believe that it occurs to that extent. And so when you see things like this is proof that it does happen to that extent. And so that's why I think why the work that you, the three of us are doing is so valuable, because, man, you know, every single time we put out this podcast, man, we're taking 2 steps forward, but then you get a video like that takes us 10 steps backwards. And that's the worst part about it. And so, you know, that mess was crazy, man. I still can't get over that. Like, he hit my man hard too.
Hard, hey, twice. Hit him with the 2-piece.
For no reason. For no reason.
No,
that's the thing.
No reason at all.
This is something else. Like, when you take this job and when you put this uniform on, like, you have to know that people are going to get under your skin. Like, you have to know that.
Most definitely.
Like, you gotta be prepared for that. Like, that's what you signed up for. Like, there's a lot of things that happen to us that we don't sign up for, that we didn't sign up for. This is one of them. People gonna flip you off when you drive down the street. People gonna spit at you. Like, it's just what it is. Like, people hate the police. You out here slapping handcuffed prisoners. Come on, man. You look soft.
Well, you know what's funny too is I actually had somebody DM me and tell me that he actually went to the academy with that guy, and he said even in the academy, that guy was somebody that was just like this dude, like basically a prick like that. So it's funny too because you can see early signs like that.
Yeah. In every academy class, there's always that one. There's always that one where you're like, why do you want to become a cop? And the guy's just like, you know what I'm saying? I want to become a cop because I want to drive. Man, I'm trying to drive across the city. I'm trying to go 100 miles per hour on this street. And you're just like, wait, like, what do you, is that the reason you really want to do this job? There's a lot of responsibility that comes along with this. And they don't harness it. They think everything is a joke in the academy and stuff like that. They're always, you know, then once they get out on the street, it actually shows. It shows in the way they move. And then no one wants to be around them because, that is an indictment waiting to happen. You don't want to hang around that dude. You mess around and be in jail with that dude.
Bro, if I saw one of my partners, I was gonna say, if I saw one of my partners do that, bro, you guys gonna see another audio. You gonna see. I'm gonna call the police.
I'm calling the police.
What are you talking about?
911, I have an emergency. Who is this? This is Officer Saint. It's Officer Saint.
It's a cop back for the hospital right now. Y'all might want to come investigate this. I've got a witness statement. I'll take pictures. I'll point him out a lineup and everything.
Man. If I see my partner do that, bro, I'm gonna look at him and y'all gonna see another video that surfaces. You gonna see Ryan slapping his partner like, what the hell?
That's wild, man.
The thing about it is you can always tell who's who behind the badge, and that's a prime example. Definitely. You know, people say all the time, like, "Oh, hey, take that badge off," and there's some officers out there who you don't want to take that badge off because they realer without it, right? And then there's some they hide behind it, and you can tell who's who.
Oh, 100%. There was a video a few years ago where the dude is like,
what you're talking about?
Yeah, man, where the dude is like, goes up to the house and he's like, he's like my man was like in the neighborhood.
The man took his whole butt off.
Yeah, he was like, what's up?
Hey, wow. He wore him out. Wore him out. And his partner was like, whoa, hey, hold up.
You can't be doing this, bro. Bro, what are you doing?
Hey, that's just a message to everybody out there who ain't in law enforcement. Hey, you might run into a real cop. You tell them to take that badge off. It might come off.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
So that video, I'm like, man, what? So again, man, that's why Breaking Barriers United. That's why It's Needed exists. That's why Oh No What the Popo exists. That's why Saint the Rabbit Cop exists. Because we have to go out there and change this narrative, and we can only do it one day at a time, one person at a time. So, man, crazy current event with that one. There was also, man, I got a current event too on my phone. You know how you get the news updates? I got a news update today about there was a sheriff deputy that said something to the effect of like if he was basically forced to go remove guns out of all the homes of people across the country that he would resign. And we haven't really talked about gun control that much. And I think we're going to do an episode on gun control eventually, but My take just briefly on that is, and not to speak, because I'm not going to speak to exactly what his word or his statement was, because I don't have it here with me in front of me. But man, yeah, guns are a huge issue. And we talked about this briefly with Jorge last week. And, but the thing is a lot of times people just think that the guns are the problems. And I tell this to everybody, and don't get me wrong, like a gun in the wrong hands is terrible for everybody. Like, I don't care who it is. If you have a gun in the wrong hands, it's a terrible for everybody. But the thing is even if we do pass stricter gun laws and things like that, I can tell you, I have not met one criminal that had lawfully possessed a firearm. Like, and what I mean by that, I have not met one criminal where I have legally, or I have arrested where the gun that he had in his possession, he lawfully owned. Like, he did not register that gun or anything. Every person that I've arrested or criminal that I've arrested that had a gun in their possession has been stolen. There was a shaved serial number, and he didn't even know the person he got it from. And so my point in saying that is, even if you do remove the guns from the street or you make it harder for us to obtain guns, just in my short time of being a police officer, people are always going to find a way to get guns. And this is coming from somebody.
Oh, definitely.
This has come from somebody who 5 years ago, before I became a police officer, was like, hey, we got to get rid of all the guns on the street. And yeah, it sounds great. It sounds like a great idea. You know what I mean? Because yeah, no guns, no violence. But unfortunately, violence, you can still exist without guns. You know what I mean? So,
well, I say this, in my opinion, knives hurt people too. Are we gonna go through every house and get the steak knives out and say, yo, hand me the steak knives, we ain't cut no more steak around here?
Y'all better bite through that steak.
Where's the logic behind that? You know what I mean? They're still gonna be there, and it's a there's a logical standpoint to it that I don't think most people look at this from. I don't think.
Yeah. I have mixed views when it comes to gun control, and that's a whole other episode we could talk about. But what I'm always intrigued by is how passionate people are when it comes to the topic. It's just very intriguing to me. Like with the chief of police saying, like, "Well, I will quit." I'm telling you right now, like, do I think that we should go around taking people's guns? No, but if I'm told to go around taking people's guns to keep my job, I'm knocking at your door. Now, don't answer, but, I got a job and, I got bills to pay. So, that is what it is. But I've always just found it really intriguing that people are like, you're going to have to kill me to take my guns. And I'm just like, whoa.
Exactly.
I'm not that passionate about these guns. You can have them. You can take them.
Yeah, bro.
You can take them.
Yeah.
Don't kill me. I got stuff to do, okay?
Yeah.
But I don't know. You just always hear people say, like, well, it's my right to bear guns. And like my logic and the way that I was raised is like, it's only your right because they say it's your right, right? But the moment they say it's not your right, then it's not, right? If you go back in time, like it was your right to own a slave.
Right.
Oh,
Oh,
you got deep right there.
I mean, I'm just being honest, I mean, that's just if that's your logic behind it, well, it's my right. Okay. Well, what about when they say it's not your right anymore? Then what?
Exactly. And I think one of the key words you just hit on is people get passionate about. Now I get it, everybody's entitled to having passion in certain things, but I think sometimes, man, like we have to just make sure like we check our hearts when it comes to, and check our egos, when it comes to discussing any type of issues, just because sometimes, man, I think people just get overly carried away with certain things or certain topics, whether one way or the other. And what essentially happens is it removes the educational dialogue that can occur. You know what I mean? People are now having dialogue based on emotions rather than logic. And that's the unfortunate part, man, is so,
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like I'm willing to die for a lot of things. Possessions aren't one of them.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Right. Like I'm not willing to die for any of my possessions.
And the other thing I wanted to bring up too is we recently, and this is the last current event we'll do before we move into Officer Down, but we recently had a post. One of my Tillman's tips actually covered quotas, and do police officers have quotas? And so when I said that police officers do not have quotas, it's against the law. I was right. I'm correct in saying that, and what I mean by that, it's against the law. At least here it is in California. I mean, we can't. It's against the law to have quotas. You can't do that. There's certain ways to, there's certain ways to measure your officer's productivity, and a lot of times that's through looking at what they're doing statistically speaking and stuff. And that's for good reason, is because if you have officers out there on the street just doing, lollygag and not doing anything, how are we going to measure, what's getting done and what's not? But I say that to say this is there are police departments across the country, not a lot of them, but there are some that have had quotas in the past and now are either under lawsuits or have been sued because of it. And it's wrong, I think personally, just because, you shouldn't make your guys go out and get a certain number of tickets in order to, get some type of, promotion or basically prevent yourself from getting in trouble. So I wanted to explain that a little bit more on this episode of the podcast because the Tillman's tips are only like 30 seconds. And so, yes, there are some agencies that have had quotas in the past and they've gotten in trouble for them. But especially here in California, I know we don't have quotas. Do we have ways to measure and see what people are doing? Yes. And then there's just some ignorant comments that come through. Like this one guy, hold on. What you guys have anything on that before while I pull up this crazy comment?
I'll let Saint take that one away.
I think quotas open up to corruption. If you put people out on the street and you say, look, I want you to get this many traffic stops and you got to get this no matter what, or I'll place you here, you open up the officers going out there and just looking for stuff. And any little thing that catches their eyes, that opens up to corruption. There's no reason in the world why you need to pull grandma over who's on her way to church because you need to get this warning. You need to get this. If she's really not doing nothing, there's no reason to pull grandma over. But if you go outside, I want you to give me 10 traffic stops a day, this many warnings, this many repair orders. I want you to go out there and get them. I think that can open up for corruption at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, man. I mean, there's certain officers who you don't want to be out there proactive. You just don't want that. And when you force officers that have a quota, you're forcing those officers to go out and do things that they're not comfortable doing, which could lead to somebody losing their life.
And I've often said too, sometimes when you do things like that, it oftentimes gets people doing things for the wrong reasons.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. When I'm arresting somebody, or if I'm taking some dope off somebody, I'm doing it for the right reasons. If I'm taking somebody to jail, I'm doing it for the right reasons. Obviously, to solve a quality of life issue. There's a situation that somebody's called on, so that's why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it just because I got to get this last ticket in for the day. If I'm writing a ticket, it's I'm trying to educate somebody like, hey, you got to slow down. If I'm writing you a ticket for a cell phone violation, it's hey, I'm trying to educate you. These cell phones distract people and kill people. I'm not doing it because I got to get this last one in. You know what I mean? So I think that's why. And this was a comment. So it said, so what are motorcycle cops for? All I see them do is hand out traffic tickets. Just like CHP, all they do is enforce traffic laws. What proactive S is that? To be honest, probably 1% of officers do this. The rest just power trip and feed their egos. I highly doubt officers think about looking for a thief or looking to stop real criminals.
Oh man!
And I'm like,
here we go.
I'm like, bro, we got a job to do. Like, what?
Yeah, that's exactly it. In all actuality, I want everybody to think about this. Whether you're a police officer or you're not a police officer, when you're driving down the freeway and you see a car pulled over to the side, what do? You let go of that gas, you hit that brake, you slow down, right? That alone tells you that it's effective, right? Like them out there banging out traffic tickets, if there wasn't Freeway Patrol or motorcycle cops out there banging out tickets, then you go flying by them at 80, 90 miles per hour, get into a collision to kill somebody, right? But the fact that it's known that there are Freeway Patrol, and I'm not a freeway guy, I don't write traffic tickets, like that's not my thing, but I respect the reason why they do it. You know what I mean? If they wasn't out here doing it, then you'll be out here and get the car accidents and doing all that. And I'll be the first to admit, when I'm going somewhere, I'm getting there. All right. I don't care if I'm traveling on a family vacation. I'm getting there. But you know what I mean? Like, I know. I get it. I know nobody out there doing what they're doing. I ain't gonna knock them.
Exactly. Somebody has to do it. And that's the cool thing. And I think people from the outside don't realize like there's multiple things you can do within law enforcement. So you have some guys that love doing traffic because they truly believe that, and they're right. They truly believe that when you educate people through, writing tickets or giving them warnings, it slows them down. It's true. It's facts. You know what I mean? But not everybody has to do that. Like, I don't really like writing traffic tickets that much. That's just me. You know what I mean? So there's something for everybody in this profession. That's the cool thing about it. It's not, not every single police officer you run into is writing their mama ticket. you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
right.
And just for everybody out there listening, I learned through warnings. So if you pull me over, just give me a warning.
Come through Baltimore, bro. I'm gonna make you have a vacation coming back here.
My man.
So moving right along, fellas, what I want to do is I want to talk about, actually, before we move, hey, AJ, go ahead and take us over with the officer down.
Absolutely. So the last podcast, which was last Sunday, we came in at 26 line of duty deaths. I hate to say it, but we're coming in at 29 today. So we had 3 line of duty deaths in a week, in a week's time.
It's crazy.
Yeah, think about that. 29 individuals lost their lives doing this job up until this day. We're what, almost 4 months into it?
Man.
Crazy to think about.
That's wild. Yeah. Again, like I always say, my heart goes out to the families. I couldn't imagine if that was me, that you guys, I couldn't imagine you guys trying to do a podcast without me, saying that, hey, Ryan lost his life last week in the line of duty, and you guys, or AJ or Saint, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Yep. And that's just something I always, try to tell people that I interact with who call me a friend or just kind of think that I'm the quote unquote cool cop, right? Like I always tell them, like, well, imagine if one of those numbers was me, like, how would you feel? Mm-hmm. They go, oh, I'd be devastated. Well, there's 29 people who are 29 people who have affected a lot of people, and those people are devastated, right? Yeah. Like it's easy for people to see that number and go, well, they could have been crooked, or they could have been this, and they could have been that. I'll break it to you right now. Chances are they weren't. Mm-hmm. They weren't, because the amount of crooked and bad police is very minute. They are the minority when it comes to this field, right? Like they're just not the majority. So
I agree.
Think about that.
I agree 100%, man. So prayers out to the families. If you guys ever need anything, or if you guys know anybody that needed some prayer, something like that, shoot us a DM, man. We'll make sure we pray for them and see if we could do something for them as an organization. So, So Saint, man, let's talk about you, man. Let's talk about, man, who you are, where you came from. Is police work something you always wanted to do? Let our audience know a little bit about you.
Let's do it. All right. So I go by Officer Jackson on the street. I am Saint the Rapping. I started when I went to college. My goal was the FBI, so I started rapping in college. Couldn't keep my grades up, so that's one of the reasons that I'm not in the FBI right now. Is because I
keep it at 100. Keep it at 100.
I'm just making mixtapes.
That's serious. My mom said no more. We ain't paying for this college no more. I'm like, Mom, I'm 3 mixtapes in. You gonna let me get the 4? Or you just gonna take me out of college? So I chose the worst major too, accounting. I don't know why I did that. You have to study for that. I thought I was just going to breeze through. Man, I was in class. I was completing tests. I was getting 29s on them joints. Like it was nothing, like worse, like terrible grades. I leave the class, go back to my apartment, which I call the recording studio, and was in there. I was cooking up tracks. Over time, I went back home probably my junior year of college. And then I worked at the airport for a while. And then about 3 years into it, I became a cop. So it's not a job that I always wanted. My original goal was the FBI. But then once I got into the job, I saw how proactive the job was. And I realized that I wanted this adventure. It's nothing like it. It's a new journey every single day. And it's quite frankly, I didn't want that office chair booty. So, you know what I mean? I didn't want to be that square, it's just like every day I go home, I check my emails, I do this, and then drink coffee and then go back home and then have this normal, nonchalant life,
Right.
Like, it's just so exciting.
Hey, thanks, Saint. You just got rid of about half our followers now.
Meaning it's not meant for me. It's not meant for me. We're all meant for you, but me personally, I can't do it. I'm willing to bet that I probably could not sit in a chair for 8 hours unless it's behind a wheel.
Negative.
Yeah, I can't do it. I have to move. I have to walk around. I have to talk to people. I have to make people laugh. Like being a cop is a way of life. So it's I not see myself doing, but I'm glad I am doing it now.
So Saint, so let me ask you this, man. So when you became a police officer, did you just think that your rapping days were going to be kind of over?
Yeah. When I first started as a cop, I stopped rapping. I stopped rapping altogether. And what most people don't know is that And the first department that I went into, I did not pass the training part on the street. So I resigned from there. I went down here to Baltimore City. And what happened is from there, I looked at my music and I looked at what I do, and I said, you know what, this might actually be a way that I can actually connect with more people that's actually on the street with the actual music that I do. So, and it turned out okay now. Up to this point, it actually turned out good.
It's been that fire. That's why.
I know.
Get a record deal.
Maybe one day. Maybe. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Man.
That would be nice.
Man, so I love that, and I think that's one of the reasons why I brought you on. And correct me if I'm wrong, AJ, but me and AJ, our things, we really try to find different ways to bridge the gap between law enforcement and the community. And I think that's what I valued most about watching your stuff and watching your videos, is that you found a unique way to connect to your community. And I love the fact that in your music and in your lyrics, man, you support law enforcement like tremendously, and you literally give the story and emotions, you spread the emotions or share the emotions of what police officers go through on a day-to-day basis through your lyrics. And so with that being said, has members of the community or not members of the community, but have members of law enforcement been supportive in your efforts, or have you ever faced any type of backlash for that?
I have people who like it and I have people who don't. And that's people that I work with too as well. Mm-hmm. So I'll have people who like it, and I'll have people who say that what I do is corny and, stop rapping, But I think the key about connecting, as long as you are connecting with the community, just keep doing what you're doing, because there's always going to be haters. There's always going to be people who say, oh man, you know what I'm saying? There's no way that a rapper and a cop can be one. And I say, really, dude? I find that hard to believe because I'm doing it. So
you're looking at it.
Living proof. At it. Living proof.
It's happening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think what's cool is one of the things I really want to bring light to, if you're an officer out there or an aspiring officer, I don't want you to think that once you get into this profession as a police officer that now you're limited to just doing police work. I think every single one of us has talents and passions outside of law enforcement. But if you can use those things in your day job, then it's going to help you not only be a better police officer, because people are going to see the human side of you, that the natural God-given talents that you were given, but you're also going to be able to connect to them in different ways. And so that's kind of like the same thing for me, man. When I became a police officer, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to run a few businesses, and I always loved speaking. I love public speaking. And so initially when I got into law enforcement, I was like, shoot, man, like there goes my dreams of that. But then when I realized, I was like, oh man, I can still do that, but I can still do it within the realm of law enforcement. I think that humanizes me. And I think AJ has a similar story. And what has kind of been some of your experiences, AJ, have been as far as like, utilizing your God-given talents within the profession that we work in?
I don't think it's any secret, man. I've been blessed with the gift of gab. So, I use that. Like when I go out there, I just talk to people, and I feel like you're absolutely right. Like, I don't care if you could sing, find a way to incorporate singing into your job. If you play soccer, go to a soccer field. If you skateboard, go to a skate park. Like there's always a way for you to humanize yourself and to show the community like, hey, look, like, yes, I'm a police officer. Yes, I have to do this sometimes. Yes, I have to do that sometimes. But like, I got a heartbeat behind this badge, and this is me showing you that, right? Like there's a way. There's a way. And what that does is that helps build that trust bridge. Nice.
Now, Saint, how have you gotten over some of the haters? I mean, because obviously the haters are always going to be haters. So have there ever been days where you actually got down on yourself about it or felt down?
Of course, most definitely. There are days where I'm like, man, should I actually be doing this rap stuff? Or maybe I should not try to combine these two jobs. So I think the way that you get past that is to honestly just completely just keep moving. Tunnel vision. Just keep moving, because like as I told you before, there's always haters. There's always haters, man. You know, regardless of what you do, I could die, and then you'd be like, yo didn't die the right way. You know what I'm saying? He should have died like this. He should have died on his back. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, there's always going to be haters out there who say something stupid. You know, when you're trying to push for, you know, a goal. You know what I mean? So me, I don't even mind them, man. I don't even mind them. You know, just keep moving and make sure every rap is better than the last.
And the reason I bring that up, man, is because we have a lot of our following is we have police officers obviously on here, and this is for you, but we also have a lot of teenagers out there that are going through things where people are telling them they're not good enough, or they can't do this, or they can't do that. I think every single one of us on this call has experienced a level of haterism, as you can say it. And you know, and we still do on a daily basis. And so when you get past it, and I think that you can't get to the success that you want to without it. Because if you took a smooth, easy sail to the top, then once you got to the top, the moment you experience a problem, how are you supposed to figure it out if you've never been challenged before? And so I think I actually kind of look for it, because when I see it coming, I know I'm in the right direction. There's a parable in the Bible where God talks about, not the God, but it talks about where basically somebody, you know, the man was given talents, or multiple people were given talents. One was given like 1 talent, one was given like 4 talents, and don't quote me because I don't have it on me right now. But at the end of the day, when the owner of the farm came back or whatever, he's like, hey, what did you do with my talents? And one guy was like, well, I buried it, and so that way when you came back, I can give it to you. The other one was like, hey, I went and, you know, basically deposited or whatever and made you back, you know, double, and the other one basically quadrupled it. And so I look at that parable as our lives. Like, you know, God has given every single one of us a talent, whether it's rapping, whether it's speaking, whether it's a gift of gab, whether it's love, whether it's faith. And if I don't use those talents and try to quadruple that, what God has given me, then I'm doing a disservice. You know what I mean? To not only myself, to God, to my community. And so I think it's phenomenal, man, that you're utilizing your talents within law enforcement to not only, you know, live the best life that you could live, because that's always been your gift and talent, but to bridge the gap between law enforcement and the community, man. Because when I saw you, bro, I'm like, man, this dude is fire. Like he's spitting some bars right now, but he's a police officer, and like that's what the humanizing aspect of it, I think, which is so dope about it. You know what I mean? So you were going to say something? Yeah,
I feel like that part, it throws a lot of people off. They'll meet me on the street and they'll be like, yo, I seen you on the news, yo, you rap, you do this and this and this. And they would expect me to be like this uptight dude, you know, my uniform pants are like way up my butt. You know, I'm walking around with a straight back all day. And it's like, yo, that's not what cops are. Yo, cops are actually humans. Like, we have the same problems that you have. When I go home, I got to sleep just like you. I don't just stay up looking out the window like, is there a criminal going by here? Like, no, that's not how it works. Like, you're actually a human. So I feel like that actually helps people actually see that we live lives just like they do.
Man, you got something on that, AJ?
Yeah, my man said I could die, and they would say I didn't die right. Hey, bro,
I'm using that at my next presentation, bro.
Hey, yeah, that wrapped it up right. That's fire. That's fire. It's so true, man. It's so true. And you know, I've said it once and I'll say it again, man. Like, the moment people start hating on you, and not just like hating on you, like talking stuff, but like going out of their way to like derail like your momentum and your movement, is the very moment that you should know you're doing your thing. You're doing your thing. Like, people love to see people doing good, but they hate to see people doing better than them. And that's just your sign, man. Like, man, shiny, like you're doing your thing, man. So keep pushing.
So I'm about to drop some nuggets for anybody that's an aspiring police officer. Anybody that's an aspiring police officer, if you listen to this podcast, I'm about to drop you a nugget right now. When you are interviewing for your next job interview for law enforcement department, I want you, before you go into that interview, to honestly think about what you're talented at. Like, what are you talented and passionate at doing? Because I'm sure it's not law enforcement. I know it's not law enforcement, because obviously you're not a police officer yet, so you don't even know what to be passionate about as far as the job itself. But I'm sure you have a talent or a passion in something. I want you to think about what that talent is, and I want you to think about how you can use that talent in the professional law enforcement. Because if you think about how that talent could benefit the professional law enforcement, if you can combine that into your oral interview somehow, I'm telling you, those people are going to be blown away and be like, man, like, wow, like, that's dope. I never even thought about it like that. Prime example, I graduated from college with a marketing degree. Like I said, I had no aspirations of being a police officer, not one at all. And me, if I had to go do my oral interview again, I would say, hey, you know what? I reckon I'm looking at, law enforcement the way it stands right now, and the perception of law enforcement is terrible. People don't like or they think they don't like police officers, and they don't even know why. So if I got hired with your agency tomorrow, what I would do is utilize some of the skills I've learned in marketing in college to rebrand the professional law enforcement. That's exactly what I'm doing through BBU, and it's needed. All I'm doing is rebranding our profession. It's not rocket science. So the reason I bring that up is because Saint has figured out a way to utilize his talent to benefit the professional law enforcement by changing people's perception. AJ has figured out to utilize his talents through the gift of gab, and AJ got bars too. I don't know if you saw it. Did you ever see AJ's rap video?
I seen it.
Yeah,
I seen he was sat down, just going to the kid.
Hey, I definitely want the battle. I definitely want this battle. We're gonna have to get this battle, but finish him. I'm the judge too.
That was nice, yeah.
But yeah, AJ's utilizing his talents to connect with this community. So that's a nugget for you if you're listening and you're aspiring to be a police officer. Is think about what you're talented at outside of law enforcement, because we all know, like, when you show up in that interview, we know you want a job in law enforcement. That's why you're interviewing. It's no secret. But so we're expecting the cliche answers like, oh, I want to help people, or ooh, I want to take the bad people to jail. Like, we're expecting those answers as on the oral board panel. What we're not expecting is, oh wow, this person is he was a construction worker, and now all of a sudden, he's coming in law enforcement. Man, this dude could maybe build us some training facilities at our police department. You know what I mean? Like, you were made with more than one gift. I'm sure your gift was not just to go out and just be this, SWAT dude, from date of birth. You know what I mean? It's probably you have some talents that could contribute to that, but I'm sure you have gifts outside of law enforcement. So that's some nuggets right there I wanted to drop for those that are aspiring to be police officers.
That was good, man. That was good. So Saint, if you could relay a message to someone that's looking to go into law enforcement, what would it be?
If I could relay a message, I think the message would be that when you go into this job, you have to know that you're going to have a life when you're not at work. So you have to have other things around you, that can help you. Because if you just go into this and just think 24, 8, that you're going to be a cop, and this is not going to affect you in any way, you have another thought coming. You have to have people around you, faith, family, everything around you, because this job will break you apart if you allow it to. So this job it's very unique. You literally have to have people around you that know what's coming. You know what I mean? Because there are plenty of women that will not mess with me because I'm a cop. So you have to think about that. When you get that badge, you're not just going to be this dude walking around just like, all the girls want me and da da da. There will be some, but you know what I'm saying? People aren't going to like you just off that. You know what I'm saying? No matter how nice you are to them, they're not going to like you. You know what I'm saying? And it's up to us to change that. So rather than adding on to, hating them back and then, try doing a new thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Loving one another. And ultimately, I think that actually helps. Because there are people that I meet on the street now, and I changed their whole outlook on it. They'd be like, yo, you really could have arrested me right there. You could have done this and this and this. And I'm like, I could have, but I didn't. You know what I'm saying? With this job, it comes authority, but it also comes compassion to as well. And I feel like some people forget that compassion route too.
Man, so I don't want to. You just said something. I don't want to brush over that because you said something that was really, really good. So you brought up love and you brought up compassion. There were two people that we've had on this podcast that were not police officers. When asked the question, hey, what is it something that you would want to see from police officers? One of them said compassion, have more compassion, and the other one said lead with love. And you just touched on both of those things. So my point is that it's no secret. It's no secret. These guys, what everybody we brought on this podcast, they're all saying stuff that's similar. We're not scripting this stuff. I didn't tell my boy saying, "Hey, bro, make sure you drop compassion and make sure you drop love in here somewhere."
40 minutes into it, I'm gonna give you the wink.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you the wink, and that's what you said. Like, we're not doing that. You know what I mean? Everybody on this podcast that we bring on here is saying similar stuff, and that's because it's real stuff. This stuff really does matter. Like, it's needed. You know what I mean? That's why me and AJ call this podcast. It's needed because love, compassion, all this stuff is needed to change the perception of law enforcement and to change the way we deal with the community. That's what gets us out of these situations where you got freaking cops slapping cats on their bed. You know what I mean? Because somebody says something. If you will lead with love or lead with some compassion, then you ain't gonna be going down that road. You know what I mean? So, man, what you just said was fire, bro.
I think personally your approach to everything affects everything while you're at work. I have approached people who are angry, mad, stuff like that. But if you approach them like a human with respect, say, hey, you know what I'm saying? I understand why you're mad, but you know what I'm saying? Just break down to me what you want me to do with this and blah, blah, blah. And most people, if they're logical and rational, they'll actually come down and actually tell you. So you have to be prepared to listen. But how you approach a person, if I approach a person with the same energy that they have with me, you know what I mean? You're not going to have a great outcome. So you kind of have to learn how to talk to people. I think that's about 90% of this job. 90% communication, 10% tactics. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I had a sergeant tell me.
If you learn how to talk. Okay.
No, I was going to say, I had a sergeant tell me, if you learn how to talk to people, Ryan, you'll have a successful career.
Oh,
yeah,
man,
makes your job so much easier. So much easier.
Yeah, you don't gotta fight people, man. Hey, that fighting stuff. It look cool on TV, but you punch somebody in the face with your bare fist, hey, it hurts.
Yes, it does.
I grabbed the dude up under his arm, right? And when I tell you he flexed, I realized at that moment, I said, "Nah, this dude got root force." Hey, look, let's talk about this. Let's go on.
Hey, brother, can we talk about this? Let's talk about this, man.
Dude about to fold me up like a lawn chair.
Oh,
like, yo,
bro. Man, go ahead.
It ain't what you see on the movies. It is not. Hey, listen, I've used force on people, and it's been effective. And immediately afterwards, I'm like, man, my shoulder kind of hurt. Man, hold up, bro. My knee hurt. You know, stuff that you ain't even know was in your body will hurt. Yeah, it's for the birds, man.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, I remember when I was fighting with somebody, and I ended up body slamming them, and and I was mad too because it was right around the time I was in the gym faithfully, bro. I was in there getting it in. Your boy was throwing up 3 plates, dog. I was filming myself, taking selfies in the gym. And I body slammed this person, bro, and slammed my wrist. Dog, went all downhill from there, bro. We went to Hawaii, bro. I started eating Twinkies and all types of stuff, bro. Lost that 315 real quick.
I literally chased this guy. This was a year and a half ago. I'm chasing this guy. He just robbed somebody. And I'm like sizing him up as I'm chasing him, like, oh, yeah, I'm about to catch him. He not that big. Hey, then the crazy kicked in. The dude stopped in the middle of the intersection, ripped his shirt off. You gonna have to earn this arrest. Squared up, he swung on me. Hey, we start fighting. Hey, we wrestling around this alley. Halfway through the fight, all right, 2 other officers on top of this dude. I look down. My pinky is sideways. Like, I mean, it's like sticking the complete opposite way. And I'm like still wrestling with this dude. I'm like, oh, snap. Like, so I show my partner in the middle of the fight, like, hey, look. He was like, oh. He's like, don't look at it. I'm just like, hey, that fighting stuff, listen.
Dog, at least your pinky got fixed, bro. Look at my pinky, bro. That's as straight as it goes, dog.
You got that. I'm going to call your pinky can't get right, man. Your pinky cannot get right.
Oh, man. Hey, dog, you ain't got to have jokes, though, bro. I'm sensitive about my pinky, bro.
Hey, is not needed.
Hey, so Saint, real quick, man. So tell us about some of the success you've had, man. I know recently you just did an interview, man. With was it Today or Good Day Today or what was it called?
Today Show News.
Oh yeah, it's a Today Show.
I think they told me it's going to air Friday at 8 in the morning. So you guys will be able to see all that stuff. Now I've never been that nervous in my entire life. Dude just walked in. He was like, "Start having a conversation with me." That thing was like the R. Kelly interview. They had the lights, they had the chairs and everything. Man.
Y'all playing with my life.
I'm my kid.
Oh man,
no, son, they had the lights everything. It was no lights in that joint, just them large beaming lights on me. I could see myself in the thing. I'm waving and like, oh, snap, this is real. He said, yeah, it's just TV.
Yeah, this is real. You better get your act together.
Said, oh my God.
So how did you get that? How did you get hooked up with that?
I think they reached out to the department, and then the department okayed it. I'm not actually sure about that part of it, because they just reached out to the department, or the department reached out to them and gave them the idea, and they loved it. So they came all the way down from New York just to shoot that. So I was just like, wow.
Are you serious, bro?
This is major. Hey, Hollywood.
Hey, major thing.
Hey, St. Hollywood.
Don't forget all those little people, man.
For real, bro.
I'm just like, yo, son, live news, makes me so nervous.
Oh,
when I did the morning show in DC, the lady, like, I rapped the whole thing, and she came up, she was like, whoa, it has to be hard to be a cop, right? And I was just like, well, you see, I had,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I ate cereal for breakfast.
Son, I said something goofy, like, I feel like it was a decision that had to be made or something like that. Some goofy stuff. I was like, I look back at that, I can't even watch it without cringing. I'm like,
oh, Saint the Hollywood rapper, bro.
Same way.
Saint goes to Hollywood. Hey, that's the title of our podcast, bro. Saint goes to Hollywood.
Yes.
They ask you the most rhetorical questions. They be like, so you woke up today, right? And you're just like, yeah, man, I'm right here.
I think so. Is this a dream?
Hey,
they smile at you the whole time, yo. It's so funny.
Bro, that is super dope. Hey, so to all of our podcast listeners and viewers, make sure you guys check out, if you guys are not already following my man Saint, he is Saint the Rapper. That's right. That's what it is, right? Saint the Rapper?
Saint the Rapping Cop.
Yeah, Saint the Rapping Cop. Make sure you guys follow his Instagram. And, bro, I was checking you out, man. You on iTunes and everything, bro.
Yeah, I have a lot of stuff out. Yeah.
Hey, what's your favorite cut? Like, what's your favorite cut if you had to pick one?
Favorite song?
Oh no, even better. What's your favorite verse and rap it to us?
Oh,
nah.
What's your favorite acapella?
The verses on my phone. Okay. Me personally, I don't memorize my raps like that because I be working like so.
He's like, they be working me too hard out here.
Yeah. Last week, I did them all the same day. So they're all in my phone. I just changed my shirt. Don't tell nobody. I know. I just changed my shirt. I wrote them all the same day. And then I just record them, and then I just keep moving with my progress and stuff like that. Okay. So it's wow, yeah. Hey, so I have a lot of stuff that I'm working on now. What's up?
I just got an idea, AJ. Hey, we need to have Saint open up or do a performance for us. Maybe at a something called the It's Needed conference.
We might be able to make that happen.
Hey, we might have to have him do a performance.
We're going to be at
about 8 verses you can choose from. So
we're going to be at a Holiday Inn, La Quinta Suite, in one of the back rooms. I'm going to be talking about Saint the Rapping Cop.
Hey, was that low-key a fair or foul? He just took a shot at us right there.
Yeah, he did.
Hey, that's just that's almost as bad as my team thinking I was taking an Panda Express, bro.
Yeah, I got the fair or foul.
Oh man, well let's move into fair or foul, man. Because hold on,
That's so funny.
Real quick before we move on, man. This podcast is being brought to you guys by Breaking Barriers United. Breaking Barriers United doing some big things. Once again, I want to thank my man. Oh no, it's the Popo. Saint, man, it's been a pleasure. We definitely got to have you on here again. Announcements again. The biggest announcement we have, man, is just the conference coming up August 1st, man. Then we do have another announcement too. We are redoing our website. So Breaking Barriers United is going to be having a new website, probably launched by next week or so, but it's gonna be phenomenal, super interactive. We'll have merchandise on there, everything, man. So that's the other one. And then other than that, man, let's go into the fair or foul. I got a fair or foul today too, so I'm gonna let AJ go first with his.
All right, so my first fair or foul is we started group test. All right, let me set it up. So I wake up this morning, I go to church, I got like a little project I'm working on at church. So I'm there all morning. My phone buzz. It's my man Ryan. He's like, yo, I started this group thread. This is my man Saint. I'm like, oh yeah, Saint. What? I follow this guy. I like all of his posts, man. I be in his DM, like whatever. So I'm a fan, right? Like I'm like my guy.
I know where this is going,
up, bro. Like you know me, right? Blah blah blah. So we get to talking. I'm like not on my phone like that. So then my phone buzz. I check my IG. And Saint the cop had just followed me.
I didn't know,
So I need to vote fair or foul. My guy did not follow me to the group thread about 4 hours ago.
I'm about to call foul on that one, bro.
I messed up.
Hey, AJ, don't trip. Hey, AJ, that just goes back to Saint the Hollywood cop, bro.
Yo, Saint goes to Hollywood.
Saint goes to Hollywood.
I'm starting to forget where I came from. Yo, I was going through and I looked and I said, yo, I'm following him. And I said, who's the other guy? Who's AJ? Because I didn't know who you were. And I looked back and I said, this is the dude who was doing the rap thing on the thing. And I said, oh, I'm not following this dude. Yeah. So I sneak it in there.
I was in.
You gotta get your notifications popping, bro. So you don't see all that.
I was in the group text. I was in the group text eating my popcorn, like, oh, this is getting good.
I was looking at that thing. I said, oh man. Dog. I gonna know that I just followed him now.
Hey, the funny part about that is like I really don't even be like looking like that, but like the group text went off and I was like, man, let me check my IG real quick. And I was like, oh, okay, I got something for the podcast.
I didn't follow you though.
My guy.
So I got two fair fouls. So the first one is, so I get on again IG, and I had a comment from somebody tagged me in AJ's rapping video when he was rapping to the kid. And so I know this dude is not a podcast listener, because if he was, he wouldn't have said this. But I don't know if he was trying to throw shade or what. But he was like, Breaking Berries United, if you don't know the background behind this freestyle, Oh No It's a Popo knew the kid through a few runs and did this freestyle just for him. This is what community policing and being the real police looks like. So I'm like, so I'm looking like
real. I think the word "real" messed him up. I think the word "real" was like where he was like,
yeah. I mean, I'm gonna go fair, man. My followers is ruthless, man.
Negative, dog. I'm calling them out.
Oh my God!
Watch me succeed, 03. Watch me succeed, 03. I'm calling you out, dog. That was foul. That was.
Watch me succeed. Man, he's a real one. That's a real follower,
bro. I'm like, so you trying to say I don't do real police work? And then another thing is like, man, I know you don't listen to the podcast, because if you listen to the podcast, he obviously ain't one of your followers, because he knew you would know you on the podcast.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? I take it back. Super foul.
Oh man. All right, so here goes my last foul, man. I know we usually some weeks it's kind of hard to get a fair foul, man. This week we loaded up.
In a week.
So this one, I think I told AJ this one, but I don't think I told you yet, Saint. So me and my wife, we take our son to Jorge is gonna get a real appreciation for this one, because Jorge got an accent. So we took my son to the dentist last Friday, right? So we in the dentist, and my son, he's 5. He's smart, man. My little guy is smart, man. My wife does a phenomenal job homeschooling him. Little man smart. So anyways, we go in there, and there's this Hispanic lady. She's like one of the nurses there. And so my kids, being kids like they always do, just being bad, they over there playing with all the little utensils and stuff in there. They got like a little toothpick one and all that stuff. And so the Hispanic lady, the nurse, she's like, be careful. Those things are sharp. And so she had an accent, and so, she was like, and so my son looks at her like, he gives her this crazy look like what she is that? Yeah. So me and my wife were sitting in the chairs next to each other. And so the lady repeats herself. She's like, be careful, honey. Those things are sharp. And so my son is like, what did you say? Like, do you mean sharp?
Corrected her though.
So me and my wife is like, we giving him like the cutoff sign, like shut up, fool. Like, what you talking about? I felt so bad. Like, and so my son is like, Daddy, why is she saying sharp? Why is she saying sharp? I'm like, son, she has an accent. Like, she has an accent. She's saying sharp. So is it foul that my son just has no filter on his mouth, bro? Is it fair? My man is just real smart for his age and picking up on the words that's coming up out of people's mouth.
Hey, I mean, I'm gonna go fair. I mean, I know that's my little homie. I can't, I'm gonna hold him down no matter what. So.
I think he's just a rare breed.
Oh,
he's just a rare breed.
Bro, you should have seen the look.
He's part of the beige brother crew.
That's right. That's right.
That's where that realness comes from.
Hey, bro, that was one of my nicknames in college, bro. They called me Beige. I forgot about that nickname, actually.
Wow.
Beige.
Hey, you know what they called me, man? You know what they called me?
I brought back memories.
They called me Mellow Yellow, man.
I've got that one, too.
Y'all had some unique names. They called me Urkel when I was in school. So
they called you what?
They called me Urkel because I used to have glasses. Urkel. They used to call me Urkel because I had the glasses. With the skinny jeans.
Stephon.
Man, it was bad.
Stephon.
I thought I was really getting it, too. I thought I was fly.
Oh, man. Hey, man, you guys, it's always a pleasure getting on this podcast, man. I feel like, this podcast was great, man, because I always like to just get to know and get to meet different, unique people, man. This is, and just so our listeners know, man, this is a new friendship. Man, it's crazy, ain't it, AJ, man? We've gotten so many new friendships just because of this podcast, man. It's crazy between you, Jorge, my man, Shawn Larkin from Live PD,
Wow, y'all had him on?
Oh, so fair foul right there. Fair foul.
The man hopped in my DMs.
Hey.
Like a month back, yo. I almost pooped myself while I was driving.
Hey.
I said, this man just DM'd me, yo.
He still,
I was so stunned.
He still didn't even catch the fair foul, bro. Fair foul, y'all.
Hey, what happened?
He ain't listened to our podcast.
You don't listen to the podcast. You just told us.
Yo, I didn't know y'all actually had a podcast.
Hey,
I don't really be.
He
on
just
there
keep
like
digging.
That.
Hey, Saint, just keep digging, bro. You ain't no Saint, bro. You ain't no Saint.
You gotta come up with a new nickname for Saint, man.
I was at Walmart when y'all did that.
Oh man, but hey, no, it's real talk though, man. We've gotten so many friends, man. So many friends through this podcast. Ashley Hawkins is another one. The Beast, aka the Beast, she out there. So, man, we just want to thank you guys for being just such sincere and genuine followers of this podcast. If you guys truly like it, man, give us a like, give us a share, download it. Do what you do, man. Just continue to spread the word, man, because we truly appreciate it. I'm sure you share the feelings are the same, right, AJ?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And one final thing I want to say before we hop off of here for today is if you think about every single guest on this podcast, and you can include Ryan and myself, we're all doing things, or we're all attempting to do things to make this world a better place. And something that we all have in common is that we all have been through hard times and pushed through it. We've pushed through it. I mean, look at our last guest, Jorge. I mean, he flat out said that he was paralyzed way before he was placed in a wheelchair. And now it's like he's free. I mean, think about that. Like every single person that we've had on this podcast, you guys know Ryan's story. You guys know what I've been through. My man Saint, like telling you that he's pushing through the haters and he's continuing to put those raps out there and change the world. Like, really think about that. Really sit down at night when you're in bed or lay in bed or whatever and think about, if you want to change the world and if you want to do good, there's going to be people who want to derail you. There's going to be people who are going to hate on you. Push through that. Man, powerful words. You got anything else, Saint, to leave our audience members with? Yeah,
tell the people how to access the podcast.
Oh yeah, you see how he did that? He was like, he wants to know how he can access our podcast, but he trying to pawn it off on everybody else.
He just want to listen to this episode. That's he asking that we're gonna find
he's like, I got a friend John that wanted to know how to access the podcast.
Yeah.
If you had to tell John how to access it, how would you do that?
He lives on the fifth floor.
Brother from the fifth floor. Now, if you want to access our podcast, man, access it on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher. We also have a YouTube page, our YouTube channel. So, and now with our new website launch, you're going to actually be able to access our podcast on our webpage. So many different ways, man, but please do that. Again, lastly, make sure you guys check out Saint the Rapping Cop on Instagram, Facebook, you name it, and download this stuff on iTunes, man. Dude's phenomenal. He's a beast. And I'm sure we're going to probably be going to this dude's concerts one day. Hey, when you really do go Hollywood though, bro, I'm going to be hot if we don't got no backstage passes, me and AJ.
I need some merch. I need some merch.
We got you. We got you.
I need some clothes.
We don't get backstage packs. I'm unplugging stuff in the back.
Yeah, Billy's with us too. The Savage is coming too. So just so you know, we all three of us about to be back there, acting big time.
Hey, real quick, Billy hopped on IG as soon as we said that and commented on the post. By the way, he's a real life savage.
Seriously, bro. So hey, man, we love y'all. Hey, Billy, make sure when we take our guests out on some Saints stuff this podcast. So in the meantime, guys, we love you guys. God bless you. If you need anything, reach out to us, and we'll see y'all next week. Good looking out.
This is the plan. I'm looking at God like, what do you want from me? Look what His grace has done to me. Nothing but angels in front of me. I got a team and we making moves. We're repping the royalty. Take off your shoes and don't you confuse. It's not for the views. This is the move. God made me who I am. Here I stand. This my plan. Understand. This my fam.